Welcome back to the show. Check out these headlines. Cross-border 250 trillion. We'll tell you when because it's coming quick. Lauren Believe, head of U.S. public policy for Ripple. And how about a crypto index fund? How about somebody wrote that beautiful intro?
Digital Perspectives with Brad Kimes. Come on in.
Welcome back to the show. We're at 49 cents, 2 for $1, ladies and gentlemen. Blue light special on aisle X, ladies and gentlemen. Yeah, $2.44 trillion market cap for cryptocurrency. The market is up 0.6%, 62,900 plus for Bitcoin, 3,400 plus for Ethereum, and 113 plus USD Tether market cap, rolling strong like bull right now, regardless of the micro regulations. But we'll keep an eye on it. Solana right there, and we see USDC at 32.5 billion as well in their market cap, 48 cents for XRP, 1.5% up on the 24-hour for XRP, and up 2.6 on the 7-day. Let's take a look right now. The range of prices between 48 and 49 cents. We'll keep an eye on it. I do want to tell you, ladies and gentlemen, you know gold is hot. And so is silver, platinum, palladium. You want any metals, they have it, and they have it at the best prices. All you have to do is email them, info@milesfranklin.com, and put DIG Gold, D-I-G Gold, in the subject box and ask for the special pricing list. You will get the best prices in the world if you put DIG Gold in the subject box, no doubt. Let's take a look at this. Covered this yesterday, but I want you to hear about what's going on here. The Sony is launching their own crypto exchange, and this is a wake-up call for the industry and will bring some of the biggest tech companies forward into the crypto space. I think Paul Barron's got it absolutely spot on here. And think about what Sony is already into, by the way. Gaming, hello. Music, hello. Take a listen.
Another factor, we did a video a couple of months ago that showed a lot more integrations into the potential for Sony's bank. This is where it starts to tie everything together. And I want to go to a clip real quick that gets into a little bit more around a project called Aster that was in this partnership. Take a look.
The interesting thing is the Japanese government made Web3 as a national strategy. We already disclosed the information to make a blockchain together with Sony, which include the node management service and the indexer service and the wallet management. And we are focusing on entertainment right now. And we created a joint venture called the Sony Network Communication Lab. We combine Sony and Lab, our company. Gaming, music, picture, they have a bank, they have a car, they have insurance, and a lot in a global scale. This can be one of the biggest projects. And I'm trying to make it happen within coming months.
All right, so that was Sota Watanabe, and he is on Twitter here, and it shows here's a Japanese article you may know, head of Web3, who is going to lead the exchange. The one we're talking about at Sony is our external director of the company. We've made a plan of the chain layer 1 year and a half ago, and of course now they've started to enter the execution phase. This is going to be pretty big because I think it will set the tone for a lot of companies. Also, I think this will give a wake-up call to Microsoft. I think we'll see a wake-up call already with Meta, and I'll explain a little bit more about that because this
is spot on what Paul Barron's saying here, and I just want to highlight that because we've been talking about the power of Sony in general and what they already dabble in, music, gaming, movie, you name it, right? So there's a lot that they can affect themselves. But it's the impact that they're going to have on the other large companies around them that's really going to be profound here, because the Microsofts of the world are not going to be able to stand back and just choose when they want to get in this game. Love the way that this is coming together. Now, we're not so happy with the court battles going on here in the United States, but I wanted to set the tone with this because it really does take a snapshot of where the internet was in its early days, as opposed to looking at where the crypto space is currently right now in its current state. Stuart Alderati, the Chief Legal Officer of Ripple, shares here the opening paragraph of today's Supreme Court's decision on the internet content, highlights crypto's vast potential, citing in 1997 only 40 million people used the internet, and most didn't even know what it was. Today, the internet was ubiquitous with users counted in the billions. And that's absolutely right here. And they say that there's about 50 million people in the US alone who hold crypto. So it's right on par for where the internet was in 97, isn't it? But here we're getting ready to go through this massive adoption phase as soon as we get this legislative clarity, right? When we get that bill, that's why I say a stablecoin bill is just as important as the Telecommunications Act was in 1996, because that is the legislation that opened up the birth of the internet and allowed the dot-com era to even happen. I believe we're very close to seeing that moment take place for crypto. Meanwhile, let's take a look at this. We know we saw a big win for clarity over secondary market sales. This is when District Judge Amy Berman Jackson in the Binance case cited the Ripple ruling from Judge Annalisa Torres about secondary market sales. So Eleanor Terrett rightfully responds and says you can fully expect Coinbase, Kraken, Consensus lawyers to use this opinion to bolster their positions in their own litigation. The SEC lawyers can no longer argue that the Ripple ruling was merely an outlier that no other judges agree with, and neither can your boss, Charles Gasparino. That's right, Mr. New York Loudmouth has just been put in his place, along with the rest of the SEC. And I think it's quite clear that Charles is obviously, a bit compromised, whether it's steak dinners or otherwise. We'll let Charles answer. It's only right he do so. But again, in this situation, we find out that there is more credence to the Ripple ruling as it is now being used to set legal precedent, and it has already begun. Here's the Coinbase letter to Judge Falia, citing Judge Jackson's opinion about secondary market sales from the Binance case, which is reinforcing the ruling from Judge Torres. It's already being used to shove it up the ass of the SEC and every other judge who's trying to get their bearings when it comes to crypto cases. Come on in. Paul Grewal here, Chief Legal Officer for the Coinbase company, says liability shouldn't, depending on what court you get sued in or what judge is assigned to your case. So earlier today, they filed a notice in our enforcement case against the SEC about Judge Jackson's decision in the case against Binance, already using the ruling being cited in the Ripple case from the Binance case to leverage in their own Coinbase case. See how this works? Somebody needs to ask old Gasparino, old windbag, old gas bag. Sad, huh? Here's Paul Ryan right here. He's gotten into the crypto game since he got his ass thrown out of the political game. Yeah. Trump always wins, Paul, is the message there. But let's see here, because Paul's gotten a moment of clarity in his life. He sees that this technology is not something we can turn away from. There is no choice. Take a listen.
How did we get here? As we talk about the digitalization of money, how did it get so politicized? How does technology get so politicized?
Well, let me help, because Paul's compromised too, at least he was in his political life. Things get here because the banks pay for them to get here. Things get here because they bring little worms and cowards in like Jay Clayton or Gary Gensler to do the bidding they want from the SEC chair. That's how we get here. Because it is the financial world that is scared to death about the power of crypto, blockchain, and distributed ledger technology. Because ultimately they know that when you get into the back deep chapters of this book, banks aren't needed. Don't believe it. It's still true. And they know it better than anybody.
It's easy politics. Well, first of all, we're going into an election year. There's that, but it's easy politics. And the politics come from a good place, I would say, the populism. It comes from a pro-privacy, pro-freedom place. So that's good. But it's such a misunderstood technology. Very few people know what it is, how it works, what it does. A lot of people think it's a choice as to whether this is going to happen or not. It's not. And the politics is very simple for ambitious populists. So the question is, can you see through this particular moment, the Overton window as we describe it? I think the answer is yes, because the inevitability of this technology is here. As an American can you see through this particular moment, the Overton window as we describe it? I think the answer is yes, because the inevitability of this technology is here. As an American...
And there you have it right there. But we're not done with you yet. You know who this is? This is Lauren Believe right here, head of U.S. Public Policy and Government Relations for, you guessed it, Ripple. And listen to what she says in this important clip right here.
From the corporate perspective, all businesses, no matter if it's a crypto business or any other business, you need operational certainty, you need market certainty, you need to know not just what you're going to be doing this year, but how is it going to affect the bottom line for the next 2 years, 5 years. And as I mentioned in the beginning of this panel, there are other countries where there are clear regulatory or licensing regimes that these companies can come in and be able to operate. And I know, being the head of the US side, my meetings with regulators and policymakers are very different than my counterparts in different global jurisdictions, where we're still talking about some of the bigger political issues. And you go in and you have conversations, if it's in the UK or in Brazil or in Dubai, that are much more business functional and operational. And you are seeing, these are companies that are headquartered in the US. These are companies that have an eye toward compliance and user safety. And to note too, a lot of this, there is the company demand, but we also have to recognize that this is a consumer demand, and the US government should be attuned to what the citizens of this country want. There's 52 million Americans who are now crypto users. And so there's going to be a demand on their end to make sure that they're dealing with their financial health in a safe and transparent way. So for us, you're seeing these headquartered US companies. Some of them are moving overseas. A lot of the development talent is moving overseas. Where you have that business certainty in different foreign jurisdictions, that's where people want to go, because they need to know how to operate in 18 months to 5 years. And so that's something where you're going to start seeing a real dichotomy between the US and other countries that are able to say, come here and innovate, and we'll be able to see this kind of product grow for our users. And that's going to be really interesting.
No question about it. But take a look at this. Breaking right here, Ripple will represent at the Port Zero Forum. And this is between now, July 1st and July 3rd. It's happening now in Zurich, Switzerland. The cross-border payments market projected to be $250 trillion by 2027. In 2.5 years. What? The cross-border payments market projected to be $250 trillion in just another 2.5 years. Wow. And obviously, we see all of the proper representation from Ripple here. Stuart Alderati, Marcus Infanger, and we see Cassie Craddock and Fiona Murray and Lauren Believe. I tell you, they're all over it. They're smack dab in the middle of this thing. And look at what's coming here. Chad was right, and we said it too. But I love celebrating people that are in this community. I really do. And Chad's one of them. If you're not following him, you should. The Hashdex NASDAQ Crypto Index ETF, ladies and gentlemen. The SEC has acknowledged a 19B-4 filing. Right here it is. And you can see Ripple XRP is in the portfolio. Look at that. Look at that. There will be all kinds of different ETFs, and we have said index basket style ETFs, which is what you're seeing here with all of these different selections in here. This is remarkable. And this isn't happening because we're not going to get clarity. This is happening because, in fact, we are going to get clarity. And I know that some people will look at this index basket that's been put together here and start saying to themselves, maybe I should have a little bit of everything in this basket. It's not financial advice, but I know that's what some people are doing right now in real time. Not financial advice to me or anyone else. It's just my digital perspectives. Ladies and gentlemen, I hope you will join us in the Freedom Zone. This is a great place for us to connect here, and I hope you will join us. It costs almost next to nothing to be in the Freedom Zone, and if you join the DPMG, you get the Freedom Zone for free. So, if you're interested in things like gap filling your knowledge, we have a huge library and courses in there for you. If you're looking on how to use the automated market makers on the XRP ledger, we are currently in the middle of doing that too. And I tell you, this is a remarkable group, and the value of this group alone is justified just by the brilliant people who are in it. You won't believe the resources and knowledge that you have access to just by being in this group. There is no question about any of that. Make sure you click the link below and come on in and join us. Not financial advice to me or anyone else. Let's get this thing started. All right, welcome back.